Hey everyone, Cameron here. So if you've ever been shooting outdoors in bright sunlight, doesn't matter if you're on a DSLR, shooting video or snapping pictures, or if you got a video camera, if you've got an LCD screen outside, it's really tough to see. And one of the coolest projects that I've seen out there online are viewfinders. And so actually, the first time I saw this was from Noptop, and he built a really cool one out of some basically a baby powder, a bottle. And then Dave Dugdale over at Learning DSLR Video kind of made some improvements and did a modified version of Noptop's. And then so I decided to make one and ended up making some modifications that I had no idea I was going to do when I set out to make this thing. So I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. First major thing that you notice is it's got fabric on the outside. That happened because I actually went and bought some spray paint, and of course I made sure that it said bonds to plastic. The problem is it didn't bond to plastic. You can actually see where it flaked off here on the inside a little bit. I had let it dry, and then as I'd handle it, it started to kind of just chip off, and I was really frustrated. So I was sitting around and trying to figure out what to do with this since the paint was chipping off of it, and I had thought to myself, I wish I had some type of fabric or something that I could wrap around this and kind of make it look nice and neat, maybe look a little bit different. And it just dawned on me that I had purchased some new socks, and so I figured, well, that's a sock is nice and kind of tight already, maybe I can slide this right over it. And it actually worked out pretty well. One of the things I was actually concerned about with making this viewfinder was, I didn't want to scratch up my LCD screen. I got, I just cut one end of it and ended up, hot gluing around the inside here, and then kind of wrapped the sock around neatly and tried to do it as evenly as I could. And then on the top part, you can actually see that this side looks really good. I got the seams. I took my time when I hot glued. You kind of have to cut a little bit around the edges so you can bring your fabric in nice and tight and then kind of tuck it here. This I actually didn't even glue in. But as you put some glue around the inside here and you kind of have to tuck this fabric in, you have to make a couple of cuts so that the fabric lays flat and doesn't kind of fold over top of it. And I did a good job on this side, and then I started working real fast over here. And so you can kind of see I've got two big scars here. I went back and got a black magic marker and kind of covered it up a little bit. It doesn't look bad. This side looks really great, I think. But anyway, this fits in here so snug that I didn't even have to glue it in there. So the other thing I did that was a little bit different was, instead of using the rubber bands to attach this to my DSLR or the hair bands, I decided I wanted to try using a little bit of elastic. And so for like $1.20 at Walmart, I went and got some. And what I did was I cut it because you want it to be really snug, and so that it really grips a hold of your LCD panel. And so I measured it out, and then I actually stapled it in place, and it held really nicely. You kind of have to jimmy rig it a little bit to make sure and get your staples straight. But actually, when you fold over the fabric on the inside, I actually added a little bit of fabric in there to cover the staples so it didn't scratch up my LCD screen there. But so I slid it on there, and it works pretty good. Let me switch cameras and we'll take a look at it. So here we are. I've got my Canon 60D out, and basically you just have to kind of slide the panel in a little bit, turn this over, and then pull the panel out the other side, and there you go. It fits nice and snug over the back there. It's important to actually keep this elastic when you staple it on there to make sure that it's nice and snug, because if it's too loose, obviously it won't stay on. But there you go. So the one thing that I like about this as a videographer, and the thing I love about the 60D with the articulating LCD screen, is that I get to get all sorts of really kind of low angle shots and things like that. And if you're using the rubber bands across the front here and across the bottom, you don't get to use the screen. You kind of have to keep shooting straight here. So with this, you get to pull the articulating screen out to the side and get all sorts of crazy angles with it, is why I like it. You can still use it flat up. It does protrude just a little bit here, but really it's not that big of a deal. So there you go. Big thanks to KnopTop and of course Dave Dugdale. Great idea, really simple, easy to do, and works fantastic. It makes all the difference when you're outside and you can actually see what you're doing. When you don't, you get video that looks like this. I shot this last week, and yeah, I've been tinkering with my settings in Magic Lantern, and then got outside and decided, hey, I can see just fine. I don't need to use my viewfinder, and this is the result. Not good at all. So anyway, thanks guys.